going on? Look, before we get into this week's episode of the podcast, it's coming to you in a visual component first, and it will be in audio normal podcast form. Look, I hope you're doing well out there. Hope you're staying safe out there. Hope you're keeping yourself encouraged mentally, physically, and emotionally. Hope everything is okay. Look, this week's episode is with a few familiar faces. All of my teammates from the Rio Olympic Games. Yeah, that's right. All of them. But you are going to be seeing them in a different light. You're not going to be seeing them in the zone that they are and would be on TV and what you would normally see them at. You're going to see them in a different light. Matter of fact, we're throwing it all the way back to how their journeys first started. Going back to the high school days. We're talking about AFSA. We're talking about truly the beginning stages of who they developed as individuals and how they got to where they are. This is going to be interesting. Guarantee you're going to hear some stuff and see some stuff that they've never shared before. I wanted to make sure that you got to know these guys from each and every single angle and not just the athlete that you see. So without further ado, enjoy this week's episode of Unscripted. So man, because I think there's many different parts to you guys, right? Like people see you on the track and they always see your focus and they always see a different zone of you, but each and every single one of you are different parts away from the track. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I want to get into. And I think where I want to start right now at this very moment, man, you guys are all truly role models in your own way. And I think it's important as people listening to this to know where you guys are from. Tell me where you guys are from, man. Segun, where are you from, man? Originally, Segun. Originally, tell me where you're from and where you live now.
Born in Nigeria.
What's the city?
Born in the north, baby, the dirty north.
Hey, Nigeria, stand up, man.
You know, it's aggressive up there. But my dad's from Oyo State. My mom's from. Nobody's really know this unless they're like hardcore Nigeria. But my mom's from the south. And she's from Calabar, and my dad's from Oyo State. But I was born in the north, in Nigeria.
But you were born in Nigeria, and then you moved to where?
We moved to Edmonton, so
What? You came out? You came out here?
Yeah, Edmonton is my Canadian hometown. Canadian champions, baby. You know, my parents kind of knew something a little bit, but moved to Edmonton, and then Ottawa's like my hometown, like my heart hometown. You know, so that's what
So you're from East now. Now the rest of my teammates on this line, man, you know, they're all from Toronto, but they're from different parts. Now, I'm not from Toronto, but I know you rep where you're from heavily, and you don't necessarily add everybody all in one mix. You know? Aaron Brown, man, tell me where you're from, man. Where you repping today, man?
6-side baby all day, every day. You know what time it is. No, but I was born in Toronto, Ontario. Went to school in LA. So I went from the 6th to the West Coast, was there for 4.5 years, and then moved down to where I'm at now, which is in Florida. I used to live in Claremont, which is where I trained, but then I bought a house out in Winter Garden, which is a city just outside of Claremont. So that's where I'm at.
What city in Toronto, though? This has got to be specific. What city in Toronto?
The beaches, baby.
See, I don't even know where that is still.
I mean, it's a nice area. It's like downtown. I went to school in Scarborough, so a lot of people think I'm from Scarborough. That's where Birchmount is, but no, I grew up in the beaches. So Coxwell Avenue, stand up, you know, Coxwell Station if you're a subway man and you know the streets. But yeah, baby, I rep the beaches. That's where my parents still live. That's where I grew up.
That's crazy because everybody always says, yo, Aaron's from Scarborough. He's a Scarborough man.
No, everybody thinks that. But it took me like 45 minutes to get to school every day. I was late like 75% of the time. But my counselor blessed me and gave me the hall pass to or else I would have got suspended for being late so many times. But she blessed me, so shout out to her.
Geez, shout out to her, man. So, Dre, where you from, man? Originally.
First of all, I was born in the GTA, so that's the Greater Toronto area. So, born in Scarborough, but I moved. I consider myself raised in Markham. That's the York region. You know, people, Bolade YRT. You know, we take YRT to school. So yeah, I grew up in Markham, Ontario. Spent like like basically my whole high school, half my elementary school there. So I consider myself like that's where I've been. That's where I've been raised.
Mhm.
And then I moved out to went to junior college, JUCO. The JUCO days. You know about it.
Yo, we gonna get into that. We gonna get into that, yo. We gonna get into that.
Went out to Kansas. Spent 2 years there, and then made my way. AB knows. Made my way to LA. I had to come through.
Let's go.
And I was living out there for a while, and now I'm out in Florida. So that's where my journey started, and now this is where I'm at now.
So Segun came to Edmonton. Then he went to Ottawa. Living in Ottawa now. Aaron is not from Scarborough originally. Dre's from Markham. And Bolade, where you from, man?
So I was born in London, England.
Yes. That's the passport. That's a dual passport thing for you. Holy.
Yeah. So I was born in London, England. I lived in Nigeria till I was about 11, or 10. Then moved to Canada, where I lived in Richmond Hill. So same thing with Dre, YRT, York Region area. Then after that, moved to San Francisco, California to go for school for 5 years there. And then now I'm currently back in Toronto, living here and training here.
Man, so it only resembles the way how track and field works, right? Like you're traveling a whole bunch of different places, and each and every single one of you have started somewhere and you've traveled in different places to where you are now, man. But I want to go back to high school, man, because everybody's high school journey is a little bit different, right? You guys over there, if I'm not mistaken, you guys start high school in the 9th grade, or you have like a 12th, like a 13th grade or something like that.
5th year, yeah, 13th.
Yeah, 50.
Yo, first of all, that's teeth. I want to get that out the way first. First of all. But
It's actually 4 years. They're lying. It's actually 4 years. There's no 5th year.
Yeah, it's 5th year. I took a 5th year.
I didn't.
The actual system.
I was about taking a 5th year, but
a 5th year.
I
It's 4 years.
changed my mind.
But out west in Calgary, the one thing I realized about being on all these teams, man, is like more than half of the team is from Ontario, like from out east, right? So what did it look like for you guys high school when it came to just an everyday basis, right? I'm talking about like what time you're waking up, you going to school, you going to practice, and you come back. Because I think that's important, because I think sometimes people forget that you guys, every athlete starts the same way until you figure things out. Then you really start to dial down on discipline and habits and stuff like that. But man, what was every day for you guys like, as far as waking up, going to school, hanging with the friends, going to practice, and then coming home, doing chores if you got chores? What does that look like, Segun, man? Let me know what that looks like for you.
Okay,
You stay in the library the whole day too.
Man, well, so for me, funny enough, so school is really important. So like when I really started getting into track, it was early in the morning. I get to school early and I do like homework and like, and
what
I hang
time
out.
You get into school? What time you get into school? That
around that, like, 7, 8. So my school started at 9. So I get there like around that 7, 8, 7:38. And the reason why I did that was because like, I wasn't necessarily like this. I want to say I wasn't the smartest, but like, I just knew that I wasn't the smartest when it came to some certain things. And my school was an IB school. So it was like they're like, you had to take like special tests to get into like the school that I was attending. And so they were like really smart kids. Like when my graduating year, we had like two of the smartest kids like in Canada, like who like graduated. Like one of the kids.
Wait, how do they know that?
Had like 100% average, and like they measured the average like from grade 9 to grade 12.
Oh wow!
Wait,
so
they had to be nice from grade 9. Like you couldn't make no mistakes?
No. This is just they won the award because they were that smart.
Oh, you see, you see, when you're not a smarter man, you don't know about those awards.
So for me, it was like and a lot of them used to hang out in the morning. And so what I would do is just because I wasn't like I'm not saying that I was dumb, but they just knew things that I didn't. And so I would go in the morning and hang out with them and befriend them. And then like if I need to help like math homework, something like that, I'd be like, what's the quadratic formula? Help me out here, because your boy doesn't really understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that would be that. And then, do a regular school day. And then afterwards, take the bus to the track and then train. And then train from like, my school ended at 3. So from like, 3 to whenever we finish. And then I'd have to bus back home. In Ottawa, like the transit system is not the greatest. So it would take me about like, an hour and a half roughly to get home. And then by that time, probably be around like that 7, 8, and then, do whatever I could in terms of like eat and then whatever homework and stuff like that. And then go to bed and then get up and do it the next day. So that's like, I guess, a typical day in high school.
So you kind of already had a system in place, whether you realize it or not. You know what I'm saying? You had I got to be here at this time, do this work, befriend these people so I can get some of that good percentage that they're getting.
Yeah.
And then go train and come home.
Yeah. That's kind of the way I think I've been though. Like just, it's very like, okay, well, like what's the system? How do we make the system type thing better? That's just like the way I am. So, yeah.
Aaron, tell me a little bit about your high school days, man. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I grew up in the beaches, but I went to school in Scarborough. So the commute was far. Like I had to take either the bus to Coxwell Station or the streetcar to Main Station, and then go all the way down to either Warden or Kennedy, and then take the bus from there take the subway to there, and then take the bus to Birchmount. So that took a really, really long time. It took about 45 minutes, and I'm not an early riser. So the morning would come around, I would finally crawl out of bed and then get ready in the morning and get on the bus. It was always like sprinting from my house to the bus station or the bus stop to make it. I would generally always miss it. And then that would put me...
What you saying?
I know, I was dead in the morning, so I wasn't running very fast. So, I mean, I didn't try very hard to get there on time, but like I said, I was late almost every day. And if it wasn't for that guidance counselor that gave me that slip to show up and give my teacher, I would have been marked late like every day. And then that would have started, I would get in trouble for that. So shout out to her again. But, when I finally did get there, I would be at school. I think we started at, honestly, I don't even remember what time we started. I think I started at 9. Yeah, so we started at 9, we finished at like 3. And then from there, I would go to practice right after whatever sport it was. I played football, I played basketball, I did track. So whatever practice time it was, I'd go right after school. And then from there, I had a job for a little bit, not too long, only like
doing what?
2 months. I worked, so I had 2 jobs. One was at Dairy Queen.
Jeez.
And that one was
You're
trash.
making blizzards. Oh,
Yeah.
Bro, that was the worst job of all time. I hated my boss, but that's another story. And then the other one was at Canadian Tire. So that one wasn't bad because I was a cashier and I kind of like working with money and math and stuff like that. So that was easy to do. So I only had that for about like 2 months. So like if I went from practice to those jobs, I did that. But for the most part, I didn't have a job through high school. So I would just go from practice and then back to the crib.
I'm hurt because if I would have known that you were making blizzards, I would have tried to meet you a little earlier because blizzards are nice. So
I was always messing it up, and then he would scream at me, and then I was a little kid, so I get scared. So I have PTSD from that.
But again, you sometimes whether we think about something or not, we still see those same habits, and I think those same habits translate over into other things. What was it like for you, Dre? What was those stages look like for you?
Yeah, high school. Let me see. I gotta go back. I gotta rewind over here.
You're not even the oldest one here. What do you say?
No, I went to 2 high schools. I gotta probably give you like 2 high school stories over here.
All right, give it to me.
So first of all, I went to Catholic school for my 9th and 10th grade. So basically that's uniform, strict policies. You gotta wear dress pants, dress shirt. The Catholic school way. Make sure you got your all black shoes. So, and we had a strict principal at the time. So, I'm gonna go back with let's say, so I had to wake up 7 o'clock in the morning because school started at 8:30, and the bus we used to have this in like different neighborhoods. They used to have the yellow school bus, and free at the time. So basically, it was coming to my neighborhood at like 7:45 or something like that. And my mom used to get cheesed. She's like, "Yo, do not miss this school bus because Bolade knows this. The YRT is like $3 and some change." And my mom's like, "I'm not paying for you to go on the bus. $3 every day for you to to go to school. That money could be used for something else." So she's like, basically like, do not miss that school bus. So I had to get up early, like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Eat a quick bowl of cereal, put on my clothes, and run out, run out to the bus stop because actually the bus stop was like 5 to 10 minutes away, where the yellow school bus used to come. So I had to make sure I got on that stop, and basically just try to make friends with the bus driver to be like, I'm always gonna be here. Just wait for me. If I'm late, like just wait the extra 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm coming. Like, so that's kind of how my day kind of started from there. So once I got to school, it was different. Like high school was like, I think my first class of the day was gym class. So met like two of my best friends that are still like my friends to this day. Just from gym class, just us three hanging out all the time. We were all on the basketball team together, so I joined the basketball team there. I think this is when I kind of started liking basketball a lot. Like I used to love watching Toronto Raptors and all that, but I wasn't really like on like school teams like that. So I joined the basketball team in like grade 9, and then that's when I kind of they kind of told me about like rep basketball. So then I joined, even though I was from Markham. Sorry, this thing popped up. Even though I was from Markham, I joined the Scarborough Blues team. Because like most of my friends actually lived in Scarborough, and even though I was born there, I felt like it was a better team at the time than the Markham team. So I joined that team. So from there, I used to from high school, I used to basically like go to basketball practice after school. Like we finished school at like 2:30, had basketball practice till like 4 o'clock, 4:30, then have to go to rep basketball at like 6 o'clock. So I wasn't coming home.
So you were playing two different types of basketballs?
Yeah, like I was playing rep basketball, high school basketball. So basically, I was bust. Super bust. I wasn't coming home till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, basically, because like from there, from basketball practice, I had to take the YRT because there's a border from like Markham to Toronto. So I had to take the YRT back to Toronto on the border of like Steeles Avenue, and then hop on the TTC to go to basketball practice because we had basketball practice at like I think it was up by like where like Aaron lives, like by like Birchmount and like Jean Vanier, like those schools in that area. So you probably know about that, Aaron, like those schools around there. So they used to like switch it around like every day. Like 1 minute practice would be here, 1 minute practice would be there. So that was kind of like my day for just sports wise. And then I kind of like just in school in general, like it was pretty cool still because like, I used to like make my schedule. It was pretty cool. Like it was different because like 9th grade, I'm like, oh, you can make your schedule? Like, all right. So
how are you mans able to do this over there?
This class, I take class. And this is where like it kind of messed me up because this is how I ended up going to JUCO because like I was just doing my own way. Like I was making my own classes. I didn't have like no guidance to tell me like, oh, I'm supposed to take this class, that class, so I can go to like D1, like go to university and stuff like that. So that's where I was just having fun. Like high school was just like a great time. So by the time I left that school in 10th grade. I went to another school in Markham, Milliken Mills, for 11th and 12th grade. Basically, like I couldn't take no academics. I had to take all applied classes by that time because it was already too late. And this is where my story kind of like switched over from basketball to track. Like basically, I was just like my friend, one of my like good friends, like he was doing track at the time at York University, and he was just come out and race at the YRAAs, and Bolade knows York Region Athletic Association. So my 12th grade, I went out there and I raced him. And this is like, I remember I had to ask the school teacher because I was playing basketball at the time, and then I had to ask the school teacher who was also the track coach Like even though like track season already started, usually they don't let people like join the team after it's already done. I had to like ask her like, please, can I just come join the team? I want to run track. I'm fast. I think I'm fast and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. Like I didn't really know because like what I wanted to do at the time. Because like I think at this time, even though I couldn't take academic classes, I was taking a lot of co-op. Co-op is where like you can go out and like get a job and like do certain things like that you want to like go to different fields, like whatever you think you want, you're passionate about, basically. So that was like pretty cool for me, like to be like, all right, now I'm gonna do co-op. I don't have to go to class. I'm gonna do co-op, and then I'm gonna come and do track at the end of the
day. So at that time, you kind of knew that, if you were going to further your track and field and education, you had to go junior college.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on to that one. We're gonna come back to that.
Basically, like my high school. High school was crazy. Like it was just a good time. Like 9th to 12th grade was amazing times for me. I don't regret it at all, though. It was fun.
See, it's interesting because Segun and AB, they have these detailed, look, you got to be here at this time, at this time, at this time, at this time. Like literally, like if you know these guys, that's literally how they are. And if you listen to Dre, how he just explained everything, that's literally how Dre is, right? But you said something that we're gonna go back to. But Bolade, tell me what it was like for you, man.
Just to add on to Dre's story a little bit. That grade 9, that grade 12 story when he ran that wire is, everyone was like, there's some light-skinned guy that's running. He didn't use any blocks. He's wearing ball shorts. I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Because mind you, at the time, it was like wire A's. There weren't many people who were all that, fast at the time. And so I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? I raced Dre that day. I was like, fam, you ever think about running like track outside of school? Like seriously? Because the man was rolling.
Wait, he beat you in ball shorts?
No, he didn't beat me still. I couldn't let it happen that day.
He got me there still.
Next couple weeks though, he came back on me. I wouldn't lie. A couple weeks later, he came back on me at officer. No, my schedule in high school, I mean, similar to Dre, it was like I set up a lot of my courses, and I feel like I didn't realize the true like track and field aspect of things, the true track and field like direction of things until like grade 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that, I have to take these specific courses for me to go D1. I didn't know that I couldn't, like with Dre, like Dre said, I think I took applied grade 11 math. And I didn't know that there were certain academic courses that I needed to take to be eligible. But in terms of the daily schedule, school started at 8:40, I believe. And from grade 9 to grade 12, I either walked to school or I would bike to school. I never lived far from my high school, so I was either walking or biking.
What was the name of your high school?
Days where it snowed. Sorry?
What was the name of your high school?
Alexander Mackenzie High School. Alex Mack for short. So on days where it snowed, my parents would drive us to school. Have the classes during the day, and then afterwards is when I would. Before I realized my track and field potential, like I said, I used to run, train on the track team, but we train in the parking lot or train in the school hallways. And then once I started to actually like, I could actually do this. Like I'm kind of good. My mom would take me to York University, where I started training with Flying Angels after school. So like from 6 to 8, I would do that. And then as time went on, I started to take the bus there too. So it was a solid 2-hour bus ride, just because of the YRT. Solid hour and a half, I would say, bus ride from Richmond Hill to York University. It was a disaster, but I just had to do it.
That's honestly one of the things that every time I go to Toronto, I'm just like, it takes forever to get to somewhere. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. So in Calgary, we don't have as many people as you guys do. So it's a little different for us, man. But I want to talk to, I think high school was a pivotal part for all of our journeys, because I think there was somebody or someone in that time that helped us get to where we are to this point, whether I know, when I met Aaron, no, let me say that the first time I met Aaron, I didn't like this guy. I'll tell you why. So like being out west, you always hear about everybody out east, and like I just didn't care, because I just didn't care. People just like, man, there's this, I heard about Segun and I heard about Aaron. And somebody showed me a video of Segun running 2099. And I was just like, yo, this man ran the sweetest corner I've ever seen in my life. But I said, yo, there's no way this man is in high school. There's no way this man is in high school. There's no way this man is in high school. And then I heard about Aaron that we went to. I think it was Ottawa or Toronto.
Yeah.
And we get there, and I'm hearing all this thing about Aaron, man. Aaron, da, da, da. I'm just like, yo, who is this guy? He's probably a regular guy. Like, he's probably not even know that. And then so we get to the place, and Aaron's my roommate. And so I'm like, yo, first of all, this man is like 6'2", you know, he's wearing glasses, all these different things. And we get there, he's very soft spoken. And I'm just like, yo, why are all men talking about this guy? What's wrong with him? And I just couldn't understand. I was just like, yo, this man isn't even. But then I saw him run and stuff. I was just like, yo, this man's kind of serious, right? With being in Ontario, man, you guys do OFSA, right? And I always wish that we would have done that in Calgary, because I think, honestly, what I think is I think every province should have like a playoff, right? And then you take your best two from each province and you meet up in one place, and every man's really goes and sees the title, men or women, and you see, yo, who's the fastest high school athlete in Canada, period. What was it like for you guys during that point, right? Because I'm not sure how it works, but I know that does Ottawa schools come over there and everybody clashes?
Yeah, so everybody, there's different regions, right? So Dre mentioned that they had their New York regional, whatever it was. I think Aaron's had their own too. It's like Central, whatever it was. I think they were Central Metro or something like that. And then Ottawa, we have our own. It's like the NC, it's the National Capital, whatever region. And then there's different regions after that. So then you have like the East region, you know, West region, Southern region is split up. And then like the Toronto area, it's like its own multiple regions. And like the North, but like nobody cares, unfortunately.
Okay. So let's do this. Tell me about the time when you knew that like you were gonna face these guys, but you knew that you were the man. Dog, you ran 2099, bro. Like that's a time. That must have felt good. Like the confidence was probably skyrocketed. Because you were, even though you were in high school, let's be fair, you were kind of older still. Like you even to this day, you look 30 still, but it's fine. But that's the thing. If everybody listening to this, we are like this 24/7 when we're together. Like nobody's safe. But in all serious though, like you must have had a certain type of confidence when you really started to see things line up for you.
Yeah. So good question. You know what? I didn't run that time until OFSA. So I don't think there was a lot necessarily. I don't want to say a lot of confidence going in. But being from Ottawa, though, I'll tell you that there was like a chip on my shoulder just because everybody, it's almost like you guys kind of being, you know, out east, right? And so Ottawa was kind of looked at as like, you know, what is Ottawa? Like Ottawa who? Ottawa where? Like Toronto was like, that's what matters, right? So, and so that was kind of like the chip on like, you know, kind of my shoulder. And that was kind of like my motivation because nobody cared or knew about Ottawa. And, you know, and so, but I think for everybody, and if you talk to everybody, you know, those probably say the same thing in terms of like, there's always the anticipation building towards OFSA as you get closer to it. It's just because you know that like, well, I think that's because you know, but you're not really too sure what's going to happen. Like OFSA was just so big, like anything could potentially happen. And for sure you had people walking in as like the number ones and the number twos, right? And you're trying to go in and see where you can finish. But there's a lot of hype around it. It was almost like in a sense, like going to the Olympics for like high school. If I can compare it to something like the feeling of it. And I'm sure like a lot of people in Ontario or who've done OFSA would probably agree or attest to the same thing, the feeling. But yeah, it was almost like, you know, this is OFSA. Like everybody goes, people like, and I say it because it's like this, okay? So there are people who go to OFSA to try and win medals. And there are people who go to OFSA to get the t-shirt, right? And so like, and so it's almost the same thing as the Olympic Games, right? There are people who go to the Olympic Games to try and win. And then there are people who go to the Olympic Games to be like, I made it, you know, mama, I made it, right? I'm on TV. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm going to come last place, but I made it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how like the same feeling goes towards, I think, OFSA. So that's like that's OFSA like in a nutshell in terms of the way it is. And then, you know, again, me being from Ottawa, and my background was like, okay, you know, it's going up to Toronto to try and like, you know, we got to like show where, you know, put Ottawa on the map type thing, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I would describe the whole OFSA experience.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that because I think you just described it extremely well. You know, so Aaron, tell me about just that whole build up to there. And what was that like for you?
Man, for me, so I went to Birchmount, right? First of all, I was in the BEAT program, which is the Birchmount Exceptional Athletic Program. So that's why I traveled so far to go to school. And I went there for...
Wait, so it's like a special school?
Yeah,
Guys, right?
Program. Huh?
I said, y'all are hated, man. You're like you're like the USA of the USA of the,
So, like,
the high school track road.
You low-key like recruit the best talent in the area, or not even in the area, just in Toronto, to come to your school for that program. So it's like a program full of athletes that specialize in something. But the weird thing is, I was a soccer player, so I registered in the BEAT program as a soccer player, and I wasn't allowed to play soccer for the school team. So
wait, you were nice at soccer?
Oh yeah, I was wicked.
Yo, no man is ever gonna say there's something.
But yeah, so I already knew what time it was when I got to Birchmount. There was like a whole bunch of athletes from around the way that were all talented in their own field. And when I ran track, I just did it for fun because I'd always done different sports just to burn energy and to stay active, and it was fun. So I was, you know, joining the track team, and that's when I met Andre Hamilton, rest in peace, and Ian Warner. And they knew me from like other sports like basketball and stuff, and we all had the same clique. But when I came to track, that was like their territory. So like, yo, what are you doing out here? Like, what this is our area. Why are you on the track? And then I was like, obviously young and like arrogant, so I'm like, I'm fast too. Like I could hang with y'all. What do you mean? And like, I didn't know about the legacy that they had. So you had Justin Warner go there, win all types of OFSA golds. You had Ian
with the dreads.
Ian with the dreads winning OFSA golds. You had Andre Hamilton winning golds. So then they had the relay team that had like a dynasty going. So once I knew about that, I wanted to be a part of that. And I thought I was just gonna walk in there and win. And then grade 9, I got slapped up at OFSA. I got 4th. And then I'm like, all right, I'm actually like come to practice next year and see if I can get a little bit better. Because I used to run just like Dre said, like I used to run in ball shorts and ball shoes, and I didn't use blocks. I'm like, yo, what are these things? Because like when I ran back when I was younger, we just did a standing start and then we just ran as fast as we could. And then when we put blocks to, I'm like, nah, get those out of my lane. Like I'm gonna just do a standing start.
This guy didn't know.
And then I ran, and then they're like, yo, what was your time? I'm like, what do you mean what's my time? Like I won the race because it was prelims. They're like, no, you got to tell us your time. I'm like, why? What? Like, who cares? And then I look on the paper and I said like 11, 6 or 7 or something like that. And they're like, they thought I was lying. I'm like, no, like it says it right there. And they're like, there's no way you ran that fast without blocks. And then I'm like, oh, am I good? Like, I don't know. And so, so I ran it back, and then I ran again. I think I ran 11.5. And then they started hyping me up. I'm like, yo, and I started feeling myself. And then like the next year I wanted to see how fast I could go. And I think Ian at that time had the sophomore, they don't call it sophomore, junior record. What's grade 10? Is that junior?
No, I think there's one more. I think junior's at 11.
It's junior. So it's the grade 9 is the midget.
Yeah,
that's it.
Junior, and then 11 and 12 is senior, I believe.
Yeah. So Ian had the OFSA record for junior, and it was like 10.99 or something like that. So I wanted to break it, and when I got to OFSA in grade 10, I ran 10.93 or something like that. And that's when I joined Phoenix in the summer, because Coach Bill was like, yo, you could get a scholarship. And then like you guys said, you didn't know anything about what you needed to get a scholarship and get qualified and all that. I didn't know either. So once he started telling me about it, I started like doing a little bit of research and learning about different schools and D1 and all that. So I started to pick up my academics in school so I could be eligible and raise my GPA, because before that I didn't really care. But yeah, I was always just competing back and forth with Ian and Andre just to, prove myself and show that I can hang with them, because they had such a legacy at Birchmount of being like the top dogs, and like every other school wanted to beat Birchmount or beat us because we had it all. I mean, Segun could tell you. we went back and forth with Segun a lot. Brendon too. You know, he had his moments too. But
Birchmount, yeah. I think I saw a photo of you and I want to say Andre, Hamilton, Justin, and Ian. You guys are all wearing bodysuits.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, what type of different education is this, man? Because, yo, we don't have that out here. You know what I'm saying? But I saw you guys ran something like 42 or 41 something.
41.
Jeez.
Our record just got broken a couple years ago, but before then I thought it was never going to get touched because we ran like 41.4 or something like that, which was crazy at the time. But I remember that one day we all had the bodysuits, like we pitched in a little bit of money and we got these bodysuits with like the Superman logo, but it had a B instead of an S.
Yo, you mad? Oh.
So we ran the first round and then we did a little jog thing, a little something light.
Yeah.
And then we had it under our clothes and we're like, all right, nobody stripped down until right before we have to go. So we're doing like our warm-ups in our zones. And then they're like, all right, track's closed. Everybody take your stuff off. And then everybody was looking at us and we looked at each other down the track. We're like, we're ready? Yeah. And then we peeled off our shirts and everyone was like, oh, no. Like we like everybody, I don't even think anybody wanted to race us anymore. Cause they're like, yo, they're going to win. They got bodysuits. How are we going to deal with this?
Showmanship.
So, yeah. We were crazy in Birchmount. So I think just that whole legacy of relay culture started early for me at Birchmount.
So, Andre, tell me about that experience, man, because we were all kind of, some of us are along the same age group, and then you and Bolade particularly started at that same ground for you guys. So, Dre, tell me what the officer experience was like for you, man, because it's a great time to be a Canadian sprinter right now, and I don't think people appreciate and are able to see that. So, tell me what that was like for you.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the officer experience. First of all, like, I didn't even like. It was my first time. I remember even talking to Bolade. Bolade was like, "Okay, we have YRAs, but now you got to go to Centrals. You got to come top 4 in Centrals. If you come top 4 in Centrals, then you could go to OFSA." So I was like, "Okay, man, this is crazy. There's steps over here. Like, so this must be like something big. Like, I'm excited." So I'm like literally, like, I almost didn't even make OFSA. I got the 4th spot.
Hold on a second. So now you just named like 6 different titles. But first and foremost, man, yo, Brendon Rodney, what's going on, man? Brendon just joined the chat.
Hey.
What's good?
Turn your mic on, bro.
Turn your audio. Turn the mic. That Jamaican Wi-Fi, big Wi-Fi is so
yeah, Jamaican
Wi-Fi, dog.
He's cheese. But let's go back because that's the one thing that I really liked about Ontario, how you guys operated. So walk me through the stages, man. Was it just like you had 5 different races before you got to OFSA?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like that. I mean, it was 2 levels, but in those 2 levels, you had to run like 5 or 6 races because you had the quarterfinals, you had the semifinals, and you had the finals. So I remember it was like top 4. This is where after YRAs, when Bolade came first and I came second, then we went to the next level and we had to go to Centrals. And Centrals, and I remember Bolade and some other people were telling me, okay, you have to come top 4 to go to OFSA now. So now you have to go through the rounds. So I went through the first round. I think the first round I came like 2nd or 3rd. Then it was like, okay, now finally I made it to the finals. And
were you still wearing ball shorts at this time?
Yeah, I was wearing ball shorts, but now I got the spikes. I got the spikes now. I got the spikes, and I had to come out the blocks because I remember this is when I met Tony Sharp, and he was like, nah, these guys are serious. Like you can't do that. You can't do that running start. You have to try to at least come out the blocks. And you have to try it because those guys were gonna dust you. So that's when I came out the blocks. I came out crappy, some doo-doo. Like, I was in last, and I run down the field, and I was like, "Yo, Olivia, I'm gonna make it." And then literally crossed the line, and I got the 4th spot. I was so happy. I was like, "Yes, I made it." I think, but Bolade, what'd you come like? Bolade, I think Bolade won, right? You won, Bolade, right?
I won that year, yeah. I think I got the record that year too, actually.
Yeah, Bolade was on fire, and I was just like, I don't even care. I came fourth. I made it to Asa. This is a bless. So now, basically, like our whole school, only 2 people made it. So I was like, oh wow, I'm prestigious over here, like top 2. Like me and this other girl, she was a long jumper. We're the only ones that made it. So they're like, okay, well, all right, cool. So I'm like, where's the next level? Brockville, Ontario. And I was like, where is Brockville? I don't even know where that is. I'm thinking it's somewhere in Toronto, in the GTA. We go on like a 2 to 3 hour car ride to Brockville, and I'm like, and we stay in this motel. So I'm like, is this my OFSA experience? Like, this is not what I played basketball. Like, we stay at a nice hotel. We don't go too far. Like, I'm like, damn, only 2 of us, okay. But then when I actually got to OFSA and I got to the warm up and everything, I was like, holy, like this is amazing. This is crazy. Like so many people, so many girls. I was like, oh man, like this is crazy. So they had like a Nike tent, and then I was like, I kept asking people, I was like, why do they have a Nike tent? And they're like, oh, Nike sponsors the OFSA event. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm getting the gear. Got my Nike OFSA hoodie, got my Nike OFSA shirt. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling good. Like this is nice. I'm putting this on today. I'm this. So basically, it was just like a great experience. Like just like but literally, I was just like, man, whatever happens, I'm just happy I made it here. I was one of those guys because I'm like, yo, this is. Because I'm like, I know this is about to get serious. I know I ain't really know running like that, and like these guys train every day. They have practice. They're on clubs. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go out here and try to do my best. And I remember it was the heats at the time, and I think they said it was like top 2 make it in. So I came second. I was like, ooh, made the final. Bless. Made the final. I'm here. And I just gave it all I got, and I ran, and I came like 5th place, and I didn't make the podium, but it was blessed. I got a little ribbon. So the ribbon was like, I think it was a black ribbon for 5th place, and I was like, oh, this is blessed. Like, okay, I like it. So, and that was my whole OFSA experience. So I had fun, and then after that, made new friends, made new track friends, and that's when I ended up joining the club after that. So it was pretty cool.
Bolade, tell me what it was like for you, man. Tell me what that whole experience seemed like for you, because from what Dre was explaining, you
I beat Bolade, blessed.
you were kind of top dog.
Let me start off by saying my entire high school career, I absolutely hated OFSA. I hated it with a fiery passion. The reason being was that because of YRAAs, like even the year before, like all the years prior, the only people I had to race were the kids from Bill Carruthers. Bill Carruthers is another school similar to Aaron's, where they have kids coming in specifically for sports. So those are really the only guys I had to compete against. So I was good. I'm cool. But every single year, as soon as I got to OFSA, because I haven't had the competition and had guys really on me, I'd always get to OFSA and just wet the bed. I didn't know what it was. I crumbled under pressure every time. Then the year Dre came was really the first time that I would say somebody was on me. Like when I say on me, there's a picture of it, and I love that picture because on me at YRAs, and then Central, same thing. And then OFSA that year, I was like, yo, I beat these people. I'm telling myself, like, I'm good, I got this. And I see Dre beside me, I'm like, oh, at least I know I'm not gonna come last. Like I beat this guy at my cocky self, like I'm trying to amp myself up at this point. I'm trying to believe, I'm trying to believe myself. Yo, at least I won't come last. Yeah, when I tell you I got out the blocks fiery, like I was gone.
Yeah.
And like 60, 70 meters, dog.
Holy.
I seen 5 mans go past me.
Holy.
Including Dre. Oh, jeez. That was hot. I was like, at that point, I was like, yo, just cross the line, dog. Don't just. I looked at the times. I was upset, and that literally happened every year at OFSA, before and after that. Where the year after that, I think it was the year I was racing Andre Ford, and and that was a big thing for everybody at that point in time. It was like, oh, the rivalry, this and that. And I crumbled.
Brendon
In the 100 meters, I was right there.
and right now my guy's in Jamaica, so you know it's a little it's a little serious down there. But Brendon, what we're talking about, man, and we did the intro for you at the beginning, and what we're talking about right now is just the officer experience, what it was like. Because the reason why I spent so much time talking about, you know, the high school aspect of it is because I think it's a pivotal process in how everybody was able to transition into what they were able to be. You know, for example, Bolade just talked about, man, like he crumbled under pressure, but 2016, he used that pressure to make the team, right? So what was that like for you, man? And first of all, I must say, hey, your beard is looking magnificent.
Yeah, you know, big man now. But also it's cool. I mean, I think I had the most battles with Aaron. So Aaron was the person that I was always competing against during the officer times. I think I used that even when we became like pros and we had to compete against each other. I mean, I think my first NCs I competed against Aaron as well. So I've been competing against him since I don't even know if Aaron remembers when he was playing North Toronto basketball.
Yeah, of course I remember. We used to slap you guys up.
Me and Aaron have been competing since then. So I think we've been competing before even we were doing track. So after I think was cool. I mean, the one year I actually did like all right. Aaron wasn't there. He already went to college. So that was 2011, I think, and I came second. So I don't know. I don't have anything really to say about Alpha. I always went there and just never did anything that I wanted to do, and then I just used it as motivation to get to college and run faster. And I think that was the main thing about it.
It's and we're about to transition from here to university, but I'll never forget. This was like in my 11th grade, right? It is our provincials, right? Basically your guys' version of OFSA. And it's raining, it snows. Bro, this is in June, right? Like it snowed. So the heats in the 100 is changed to time finals. And I remember my coach called me over and he was just like, yo, you won't believe what these guys just ran over in OFSA, because literally our time gap was only 2 hours ahead. And he showed me a picture of Aaron and Deshane, because they used to have some serious battles. And my coach to this day. And my coach was just like, yo, these men just ran 10-5. I'm like, yo, no, they didn't. Yo, watch this. And I was like, and I got out the blocks in the 100 and I ran 10-60. And I was, jeez, I was like, yo, they just beat me today. You men weren't even here. I'm like, yo, they just beat me. And then he's like, yo, watch what they ran in the 2. I was like, yo, they ran like 21-4. I'm like, yo, soft, watch this.
Yo, Akeem was wicked in high school though. Like, I know we're talking about all of us, but Akeem was nice. I remember, what was it, the Simplot game or something like that? And then you ran the 60 and like
6-7 and in a flat.
Yeah, you ran like 673 or something like that in flats. I rated you after that.
But you know what it was, man? I think like, you know, one of my high school teachers, man, one of my mentors, one of my good friends to this day, like when Donovan was coming up, Bruni, and Glenroy, when they were all coming up, he was with them all the time. He's one of Donovan's good friends, right? So he used to tell me all these different stories, and I was just like, yo, why can't we bring Canadian sprinting back to that same magnitude, right? So for me, it was always just like, you know, I always said, look, I just got to train extremely hard. Like, you know, the saying, it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. Man, I always felt like I had to train 6 times as hard as any other person. And I mean 6 times as hard. So, you know, because I knew that when I was asleep, like China was up, like Japan was up, right? And like you guys would have been up. So I remember sometimes I'd come home from school and after practice, and my mom would come home like 7 to 8 o'clock, and I would be leaving out the door. She says, yo, where are you going? I was like, yo, I'm going to train. She's like, what? I was like, yo, I'm going to train. I was like, yo, I'm going to train. And I would go to the field and it would just be me. And I would just talk into my head like, yo, I can't wait to see these guys. I'm going to wax all of them and da-da-da-da. I was like, yo, these guys don't stand a chance. And I was just like, but I think I think as athletes and as human beings in general, there's a certain mentality you got to have when you are attacking something. You have to think of yourself as the best person in your field that you can be. And, you know, some people may say, you know, that's all ego, but I think you have to control your ego so you can reach a certain pinnacle of success and excellence that you want for yourself, right? But I want to transition into going into the American system, right? Because I think a lot of athletes listening to this, especially the ones in high school, you know, they don't know what that looks like. They don't know what that may feel like.